Okay, so even though I knew I was trying to get pregnant, y'all, I was still in denial. So I took the at-home pregnancy test like 2 weeks and a day after. It came up with a faint line, but I was still in denial. He was kind of in denial too, as far as like, you sure you able to test this soon and stuff like that, this, that, and the third. But I had took multiple tests and all of them had a faint line. But then I went to my work clinic because I have insurance with my job, and I let them do my pregnancy test and blood work and stuff, and it came back positive through my pee and through my blood that I was pregnant again. But I told him not to tell nobody because I wanted to make sure it wasn't a chemical pregnancy. So I waited until my first ultrasound. The nigga missed my first ultrasound appointment. That's neither here nor there. So yeah, and before y'all be like, did you tell him? Did you let him know? I told him everything up front. I let him know every appointment I had before it was scheduled, all that. Mind y'all, at this time I ain't had no car, so I was catching rides because I had gotten a car accident. It wasn't just like I was down bad, y'all. It was just I had gotten a car accident. My car got totaled out. I was waiting on the check to come, so I give me another new whip, which is the whip that I'm in right now. But yeah, I ain't had no car at the time, so I was getting rides to my doctor's appointments and stuff like that. But he missed my first appointment. He missed my second appointment. He came to my third appointment. And my fourth appointment is when I found out that our baby was dead. He missed that appointment as well. We didn't know that the baby was dead at that time. I'm just saying that was my fourth appointment. And at that appointment is when I found out my baby no longer had a heartbeat. And he wasn't even there. So, yeah, that's pretty much. So, yeah, with that being said, all of y'all that might be like, oh, I thought he was a good dude, whatever. Nigga gonna fake the funk till nigga can't fake the funk no more. But I'll say this. After he missed my first appointment and my second appointment, I had already made up in my mind that I was going to be a single mother. Is that something I wanted for myself? No. But I wasn't finna let somebody play with my emotions and my child emotions, because I wouldn't have wanted my child to grow up in something knowing that that's not what love was, and that's not how a person should treat you nor take care of you, especially if you're doing something life-changing that you could possibly die from, okay? So, even though I hadn't told him, I had already made up in my mind, like, yeah, I'm going to just take care of this baby myself. I'm going to handle this all on myself. Now, once I found out that my baby had died, right, I did 2 ultrasounds. So, I did one at my original doctor's appointment. Then they sent me across the street to another sonographer to confirm, because they didn't tell me what was happening. Okay, so what I mean by they didn't tell me what happened, when I was at my first doctor's appointment, she was trying to find the baby. She was trying to find the heartbeat, and she was like, she couldn't find it or whatever. And she was like, your last appointment, it was real easy to find it. It was still not clicking in my mind what was happening, y'all. So she was like, I'm going to send you across the street, and I'm going to let the other sonographer look at you on the bigger and newer machine or whatever that they had got. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I go across the street. I do the ultrasound. Still can't find the baby. Still can't find no heartbeat. None of that. So she was like, did doctor such and such let you know what's going on? I was like, no, she just told me she couldn't find it over there. She sent me over here to see if you could find it. That's when they broke the news to me that my baby no longer had a heartbeat and that my baby was dead. And did I want to go back across the street to discuss my options on how to move forward, being that I have now lost my child. So that was a bit much for your girl, okay? So yeah, they had told me that information. She was like, do you want to sit with it and have time to process it? I was like, yeah, I'll sit with it. But I didn't cry until I had got to the car, because my sister drove me to that appointment. And I didn't cry until I had got to the car then. And then I told my sister. And then I had called him. And I had told him. And he was like, pull up on him or whatever, because he was at work. So I had pulled up on him. We had talked or whatever. You know, he was sad, but he was like, you know, we could try again, this, that, and the third. Mind you, the whole time, this nigga knew. This nigga knew what he was doing, how he was doing it. I just didn't know, y'all. I didn't find out till later on. So, with all that being said, that's when I was like, okay, I scheduled the next doctor's appointment so I could go discuss my options. But at that point, I had already been walking around with a dead baby in my stomach for over a week, and I didn't know it. So yeah, I go to my next doctor's appointment. He missed that appointment as well. So I called him on the phone. We was on FaceTime with each other. Excuse me. And the doctor was telling me I had 3 options, right? Option 1 was to do it naturally. Well, to let my body do it naturally, right? On its own time and on its own course. Option 2 was to take these pills to help speed up the process, but to still expel it naturally with pain management. Option 3 was what they call a DNC, right? I went for option 3 because I no longer wanted to walk around with a dead baby in my stomach, and I no longer wanted to carry the weight of having a baby, and I'm not having a baby no more. And 2, the first 2 options were painful. That's why pain management was needed for 1. The other one was going to be natural, as in run its own course. But that could have took an extensive amount of time. And me personally, I just couldn't cope with that. Alright, so while he was on the phone, I didn't ask him what he wanted to do. I just needed him to be on the phone to hear the information, because I don't, like, y'all, I never wanted a nigga to feel like I was tricking him. Like, I wasn't tricking him by saying, oh, I'm pregnant with your baby, and I really wasn't. Like, I never wanted a nigga to feel tricked in this whole situation. So that's why I was trying to make sure I let him know the doctor's appointment. I let him know what was going on ahead of time, up front, this and the third. But basically, while the doctor was talking to me, I said, I want to go by option 3. Put me to sleep. Get the baby out, all the stuff y'all talking about y'all got to remove and get up out of here. Go on, do all that while I'm asleep. I asked her, what's the recovery time? Because this was 2 weeks prior to us going on the trip. So, well, no, I'm sorry. This was 3 weeks prior to us going on the trip that I said we went on a trip. We had a good time. Yeah. This was 3 weeks prior to that trip. So, I was just trying to go and see what the recovery time was, because I wanted to go on this trip and I wanted to enjoy myself, and I really wasn't trying to rearrange my plans because of this. So yeah, boom. Like I said, I wasn't trying to rearrange my plans. So the doctor was like, okay, we're going to go with option 3. Let me speak with the lady to see how much it's going to cost. She went and spoke with the lady. She came back. She said it was going to cost $2. I told my baby daddy, I said, hey, it's going to cost $2 for this surgery. I'm going to go in on this day, this time, and this the recovery time or whatever. So I did ask him, was he going to be there to take care of me, this and third. He said, yeah, he got me and stuff like that. I still wasn't believing none of that shit. I already had my support system on lock. Like, hey, this going to be the day of my surgery. I'm not going to find out the time of my surgery until the day before, but this going to be the day I'm going to have to go be scheduled for it. So y'all be on standby, this and third. He said he was going to take me. I agreed to that. I agreed to let him take me. He said he wanted to sit at the hospital with me and be there when I go back into surgery and when they bring me out and all that. So I had agreed to all that. But just as far as him taking care of me, I'm not used to no nigga taking care of me, let alone not being able to take care of me. But like I said, I wasn't really used to no nigga taking care of me and none of that. So I had my support system on deck, and I was keeping them updated on everything too. So once I told my baby daddy it was going to be $2, I went across the street to talk with the lady who was on the phone to say it was $2 based on my work health insurance, this, that, and the third. So I was like, okay, when the $2 got to be paid? She was like, it got to be paid at least 3 days before your surgery date. My original surgery date was going to be May 8th. My trip that I was going on was May 15th. So I was like, okay, cool. So I'm telling my baby daddy all of this. And I said, hey, I need the $2, whatever. So I'm talking to this nigga on the phone, and this nigga was like, I ain't got $2 right now, but if it just have to be paid right now, I can put it on a credit card. And that right there is, in my mind, solidified, yeah, this a fuck nigga. Because nigga, you ain't got $2. I could go get $2 right now. I was finna go pay it. And y'all, the $2 really baffled me, because I'm not going to sit up here and say $2 ain't a lot of money, right? But if you was already planning on having a kid with somebody, you ain't got no bread stacked up for in case of emergencies or none of that. I'm not just saying I knew I was going to have a miscarriage or nothing like that. But I'm saying you ain't got no rainy day fund, no rainy day stash with more than $2 in it. So, y'all, when the lady said that, I was finna go ahead. Matter of fact, I had already transferred the money from one of my accounts to another one of my accounts down here. So that I gone to the bank, grab the cash, and go and get a lady the cash, right? And so I was going to wait to see what he was going to pay, because he said he was going to pay the 2 bands. But then when I started miscarrying naturally, so I no longer needed the surgery. I called the doctor and she was like, we're going to cancel the surgery. Your body is already trying to do it naturally or whatever. So I said, okay, cool. It wasn't until then the nigga said he was only going to give me $1,500 towards the 2 bands. And so I'm sitting up here looking like, you was going to give me $1,500 on 2 bands. You couldn't pay for the whole thing for 1, for 2. Nigga, I already had transferred the money and was finna go get the money before my body started doing this shit naturally. And that's why I don't be waiting on niggas right there. Y'all be wondering why I go so hard and why I do the shit that I do. It's because of shit like this. Never rely on a nigga, okay? So I'm just like, all right, bro, whatever. So I called the doctor. They end up putting me on Oxy and ibuprofen 800 and Mr. however you said that. So I had hit him up and I was like, okay, my body started doing it naturally. I'm bleeding already, but I just got the pills from the doctor to go ahead and speed the process up. I asked this nigga, I said, are you going to be my babysitter? He said, yeah, when I need to do it. I said, I'm going to do it tomorrow. It was Tuesday, y'all. Tuesday. So I asked him, I said, you want to do it at my spot or your spot? He was like, we can do it at his spot. I'm like, okay, cool. So, y'all, I told this man I needed a babysitter. I told him that the doctor said the first 24 to 48 hours of going through this is going to be crucial and I'm going to be losing a lot of blood and stuff like that. Y'all, do y'all know I got over there to that nigga house? That next morning, I took them pills. That nigga went to work. That nigga went to work. Now, do he work far from where he stayed? No, but the fact that nigga went to work and I'm over here going through a motherfucking miscarriage, excuse my language, because I told y'all I was trying to work on cussing, but when it comes to this, I'm heated. So, that motherfucker went to work, y'all, and I was just overly pissed, and I'm like, okay, bro, you know what, fuck you, but I'm already in pain, I can't drive, so I'm stuck at this bitch. So, y'all, I'm going through the miscarriage, I'm calling and texting this motherfucker, letting him know, like, okay, it done started, this, that, and the third. I didn't pop the perk, y'all. I popped half of the perk on the first day of doing it. So, this was my first time popping a perk. The doc told me to take the 800 first. I took the 800 first. It already had me mellow. Okay, I'm chilling. So, then I popped half a perk because I started feeling a little pain, but I didn't want to take the whole perk because I didn't know how it was going to make me feel because, like I said, it was my first time taking a perk. I took half. Y'all, I was stuck in the same spot for 2 hours. So, during that whole first day, he might have came and checked on me like 4 times while he was at work or whatever. And he made sure I had food and stuff like that. But it's just like, bro, this is an every hour ongoing thing. And you're gone. Like, if I pass out and hit this motherfucking floor, you not going to know till your ass come back again. So, yeah, y'all, that had me heated the whole time. And I was in pain for about 5 days after that. It took me about 3 full days to miscarry my baby. On that third day, he had a meeting to go to that night. So he had left me at the apartment. That was something that was already scheduled. He had let me know about that ahead of time. I said, okay, cool. Only thing I asked that fuck nigga for was for him to bring me back some fucking food. Mind y'all, this whole time that I've been from finding out I was pregnant up until I had my miscarriage, I ain't asked this nigga for nothing but them 2 bands, some food, a couple of rides, like, y'all, nothing major, right? Because I ain't had no car during the summer, but nothing major. So, this nigga ain't never paid for no doctor's appointment. He ain't never paid for none of this prenatal medication, these vitamin D's, this insulin, none of that, y'all. So, I asked this nigga, give me something to eat. This nigga come back home. For 1, he was drunk. For 2, he came back with no fucking food. Y'all, I was so pissed. And that I was what you call it, my adrenaline was pumping so bad, y'all, that I didn't even realize that I was in pain no more. So I done cussed him out, slammed the door, walked out of the house. I done got in the car to drive. The pain hit me, y'all. This is my first time walking this distance in days and driving in general for days because I told y'all I was in so much pain. Y'all, I'm on pain medication, but I want some food and I'm hurting, so I'm finna go get it. Mind y'all, only reason why I got on insulin in the first place was because I was pregnant and I was labeled a high-risk pregnancy. And I had to get that in line so that my baby could be full-term and be healthy, right? But thank God the baby just wasn't meant to be here. And if you listen to this full story time, you understand why. Anyway, y'all, I'm pissed. Like I said, I left the house. I'm trying to go get me some food. I text my sister because I asked him to give me a pizza, y'all. I had told him that before he left the house to go attend this meeting. Well, 2 meetings or whatever. I had told him beforehand. He didn't come back with a pizza. I still wanted the pizza because I was hungry. So I text my sister because her baby daddy work at Domino's. So she had hit him up for me and was like, can you make Naya a pizza? He was like, yeah, I got her. I said, boom, I fuck with y'all. I love y'all. I'm on the way to get that motherfucker. So, y'all, I get there. I'm waiting on the pizza. My sister's there. I'm talking, chilling with them and shit like that. Y'all, I get the most painful, sharp pain in my stomach that I have ever felt in my entire life. So, yeah, I got the sharpest pain in my stomach ever, y'all. And I was already even in more pain. I was starting to feel everything because of the fact that he didn't bring me no food. So, the whole rest of the time that I had been in his spot and I had been miscarrying, I had kept myself on schedule as far as eat here, take the medication here, eat here, take the perk here. Like, I had got it down to a schedule. Because he didn't come back with the food that night, it threw me off schedule. So, I couldn't take my pain medication on no empty stomach. So, when I say I'm feeling everything that I haven't been feeling for days, I'm feeling everything now. The pain, the sharpness, all that. So, y'all, I'm passing my baby. I'm passing this big ass clot. Okay, that's why I had a sharp pain in my stomach. So, I'm driving fast, speeding through downtown, just so I can make it cross town back to his spot to get to the bathroom, y'all, because I knew I was finna pass a clot. I couldn't even make it upstairs to his apartment. So, y'all, I didn't even make it upstairs to his apartment to go past the baby and past the clot, because that's what this was. This was the biggest clot I had. And, well, I'm assuming it was the baby because it was the biggest one and it was the most painful. Anyway, I had to miscarry my baby downstairs in the lobby bathroom. And then, once I did do that, I didn't even go upstairs to let him know. I left again and went to go get my food, and I came back and I popped me an 800 and I popped me another perk. And when I say I was sleeping so good, because it took the pain away, I was sleeping so good, y'all. I don't even know what happened to like a day and a half later, for real, because I was so woozy from everything. Like, when I tell you, I ain't care if he was there, gone, none of that. I was feeling good. I ain't feeling no more pain. I had passed everything. Your girl was on cloud 27. So, yeah, y'all, all of that happened. And then he woke up the next day and he was telling me he was sorry that he didn't go get no food and I had to experience the pain. And y'all, I wasn't going for none of the bullshit. I was like, okay, that was probably like the first time he really seen me have attitude. That was really like the first time I cussed him out and flicked him off when I left that first time. Like, up until now, I'm real chill. Like, I'm so mellow until you aggravate me and you fuck with me and you don't help. Okay, so that was my whole thing about that. And that was basically my pregnancy and miscarriage journey all in one. So, to wrap that up, what happened after that was we talked about trying again and all that, but I was scared. Like, y'all, when I say I'm so deadly terrified of getting pregnant by the wrong nigga again, like, legs closed. At this point, y'all might as well say I done started my abstinence journey, because, y'all, when I say I ain't did nothing, but what was said, I got some pressure built up. But it's just gonna have to stay inside, because, y'all, when I say I am so scared of going through that again with the wrong person. Like, yeah, he made it look good and sound good all in the beginning, doing all the things, this, that, and the third. But when it came to really get in the paint and be there and go through, and it was no. Like, none of that. Y'all, I am scared of that shit. I'm not even gonna sit up here and lie to you. I might be strong when it comes to a lot of things. Death, loss, all that. Because y'all know I done lost my dad, I done lost my mama, I done lost my brothers. Man, when it comes to death, even losing this baby, I'm not sad about it at all. But I'm not sad about it at all, y'all. But I am petrified, deadly scared of getting pregnant by the wrong person again. Like, when I say that did something to my soul right there, because when a woman gives herself up to have a baby for a man, y'all, it's so many complications. It's so many things that could go wrong. Like I said, I had to get on insulin and all these other medications, but I wanted my baby and I wanted my family so bad. I was willing to do whatever it took, whatever I had to do to get my baby here safely, keep myself healthy, and keep the bond that we were building strong. Like, nigga, I cut off my favorite ex for you, bruh. I'm talking about that nigga was buying me grocery, giving me money, paying for shit. I done cut this nigga off because I'm trying to go diddle over here with your ass and have a family, and you on some motherfucking bullshit. I could have stuck with that nigga.